In the last lecture for this module, we will talk about some selected string procedure. So those selected string procedure, that all can be found from Irvine 32 library. They may have more, but we will focus on these 5 string procedure we will talk about. So we have string length, we have string copy, we have string UCase, that means uppercase. We can compare string, we can train the additional character you don't want from the string. So in order to know how to use those string procedure, you can go over the source file I provide you in the demo file. So we have a string demo.asm file. You can either find that under Irvine 32 folder, or I upload that in our demo files. So in here we have few string we specified. So here they separate into 4 different procedure, but actually each procedure they will call Irvine 32 string processing procedure. For example, the first one, we have the string train. So then here you have the string up UCase. Then you have the compare string. So we invoke the compare string. So then you can find the string length. So I want you to upload this file into your Visual Studio and to see how to invoke each procedure and how each procedure work. So then the next one, what we want to do is we want to see how to implement that one by one from Irvine 32 library to see if you can make the change to see how the implementation do. So the first one, let's see how should we implement string length procedure. So the string length procedure will calculate the length of the no terminate string and return the length in the EAX register. So the prototype is like here. So we have the string length. So we are expecting 1 parameter path. So that will be a byte array. So that's our string. So we need to be careful when you want to get the string length procedure. You have to make sure your byte array being terminated by the no character. Otherwise, we cannot calculate the size. So how we will code this procedure will be like this. For example, we have one myString byte array. They have the no character. So then you just need to invoke. Then you pass in the address for the string byte array. So be careful, remember, whenever we want to pass in the memory address in the invoke, we need to use ADDR instead. So not offset. So then after that, you will see we have A to G. So that's why we have 7 characters in here. So at the end, they will return EAX. So that's how we will run this procedure. But can you think about how should we implement that? Right, very important because we have this no character. So on the other hand, we can try to find to have a loop. If we hit the no character, so then we finish. So then we just one by one, we need to increment our EAX. Very good. So that's why here you will see how should we implement that. So that's why in our prototype, we have the P string is a byte array. So then here you see we use this EDI. So this EDI, maybe we need to refer to something. So that's why we need to have them passing back. So then here we move the memory location to the EDI. So right, like earlier we said, we need to initialize EAX equal to 0. So that's why we can accumulate that. So how should we compare? Right, we need to compare this EDI location refer to the character, they never been 0. So that's why we use the comp. So then EDI is a memory location. So we need to use the byte PTR EDI. So we compare it to 0. So then we have the for loop. If not equal to 0, I just need to continue to increment my EDI. Then I increment my EAX. So then we go back to the L1. Otherwise, you see, if equal, we just finish that. So then we will return back. So it sounds make sense, right? But do we have any other way to implement that? So we can see here, we use the comp. But in this class, we also talk about comp SB. So is this possible, this example, we can use the comp SB to implement that? It's possible we change here become comp SB. Remember our comp SB, right? We do use the EDI for the comparison. But one thing is, if we use a comp SB, on the other hand, that's SB. Comp SB, on the other hand, we are not using the 0, right? So we need to have what we want to compare in, right? So comp SB actually is, we need to use the, comp SB, we use the EDI and ESI. So that's why it's not only one value. Okay, not comp SB. What else? We have scan SB, right? So if you say scan SB, right, scan SB, actually we're using the EDI. And the other one, we have a target. We can use that. Since that's SB, we can put that in AL. Will that work? Did you remember scan SB, we just continue. If they are the same, we continue. But also we have the repeat not. So repeat NZ. So if not equal, we can continue. So that's on the other hand, we can use the scan SB, but we need to check. The scan SB need to be not 0. We continue. Otherwise, the same thing, we need to have the equal, so then we finish. And also comp SB, one thing is comp SB, we need to use the AL. So that's kind of will override our EAX because we want to have the EAX at the end. So then on the other hand, if we want to use the scan SB, what you will do is you can still have the 0 put in the AL, but then you need to using another counter. So then after we done, so then we moved override EAX as a return. So you can try which one we can replace. This is not the only way we will implement the string length. So any other solution you think? Yeah, actually before I have student ask, when we use the size of, so actually yes or no. So that's why here I want to show you another one is, sometimes people think about how about we use the size of for the string. Because remember before we say, if you have a string or array, using the size of, we can find how many elements in the array. Okay, but one thing is here we will show you what the size of will give us. So now here is our string 1, that's our byte array. So our array is A, B, C, D to G, so then we have the no character at the end. So supposedly, if we want to find the length of this byte array, what is the size? Right, the length should be 7, right? Because we don't including the 0, the no character. Okay, so now here if we use the size of, so here I just show you the size of the string 1. So we move to the EAX. Then we call dump string, dump register. Then you see what is the EAX equal to? That's 8, right? So be careful when you use the size of, they are including every element for the array. So that's why they will count this 0. On the other hand, here I give you more example. You see one declaration, the whole thing actually is the size of the array. So then no matter you use 2 line or 1 line, or you have multiple elements, that's how they will do in one declaration, they do from beginning to the end. So the size of, be careful, they kind of similar, like we want to find a array that's a character, a byte array. But one thing is they were including the no character in your size array. So this one maybe not a good idea. Okay, so this one is the first one. We use the string length procedure, how to implement. Like we say, it's not have only one way to implement that. You have many other solutions too. You can think about something else too. Okay, so then moving forward, because you can post the video, but I need to continue to talk. So the next we will talk about is string copy procedure. The string copy actually we kind of see in C++, right? So that's why here in the prototype, we need to have 2 byte array. So the first one is the source array. So then we have the target. So on the other hand, actually we want to copy the character one by one from the source array to the target byte array. And don't forget, you need to have copied the no terminator as well, because you are doing the string copy. So how will you do that? Right, so I will give you the hint, right? Earlier we say, can we do the compare SB? Can we do the move SB? Right, finally this one we can use the move SB because we have 2 array. So one we have that will be ESI, the other one we point to the EDI. So then we just need to repeat to do the move SB. So then we will done. But one thing is, don't forget, you should know your repeat condition. Okay, so that's why here we have string copy. So we have 2 parameters. So in this example, like earlier we said, we need our ESI and EDI. So that will refer to the source string and the target string. So then here we need to reuse our EAX and ECX. So that's why we need to set the value back. So then here this time actually since we already have the string length. So how many times I need to do the move SB? Yeah, remember we said we need to continue to do that. And we need to repeat to do the move SB. So that's why here, since we already have the string length, why don't we just use that? So after we have the string length, we will invoke the string length, we pass the source. Because remember, we want to copy from source to target. So then you will move your EAX to your ECX. So why here we increase ECX? Right, because we have the no character. So then after you have your source to ESI, target to the EDI, right? So don't forget, we need to clear our direction flag. So yeah, so we repeat to do the move SB. So remember, repeat, they also encoding according to the number of EAX. So then we finish the string copy. Same thing. Do you have any other way can implement the string copy procedure? Remember, it's not the only way. We just show you one possible solution from Irvine 32. But if you have any other solution, you need to see if that works as well too. But make sure now we will have our prototype. We will use this all the ranges we passing by the parameter. Okay, so that's our string copy procedure.